What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Whiskey and Motorcycles YouTube channel. This week's episode is going to be a little different. I'm going to kind of just do what I can do as I go along. I said last week that we were going to do the rear fender today, but I don't have all the stuff right now that I need to get that done. We did just get a custom sprocket ordered, so that'll be here within the next 2 weeks. So that'll be in one of the upcoming episodes. We'll get all that done and on there correctly, especially now that we got the motor back in there. What we're going to start out doing today is working on the front pegs for the forward controls. We're not going to have any rear pegs on this bike, no rear seat, so we just got to worry about 2 pegs. And what I'm going to use for that is these railroad ties. Just ordered some regular old railroad ties off Amazon, and we're going to put some twists in these, and then at the end we'll make a little mount for however we decide to make the forward controls. I'm gonna make them all myself. Probably gonna go on the motor mount, get a piece of sheet metal, or thicker stock metal, and make some brackets off that, and then we'll get some more twisted metal to come up to make these, and then from there we'll figure out what we want to do exactly. We'll just kind of test fit that and run those along. So for now, that's what we're gonna work on this video. I don't know how much we're gonna get done. I don't know what else we're gonna do. Like I said, it's kind of, I'm just waiting on various pieces and things, and I'm still thinking up some ideas of what I want to do for the back. So I want to do different twisted pieces along this bike as we build it. So one of them that I'm wanting to do, instead of a regular bottom fender mount bracket that would normally go down here, I want to make some small, I guess, brackets for each side. One to kind of go to each side or wherever I can. That's like a twisted metal. And I haven't exactly decided how I want to do that yet, because of course I can't go from the outside frame here and go up, because I got to think about the chain running along here. So I may have to go inner on both sides or offset one, you know, just kind of, it may not be an equal look. It just kind of depends on what I think looks good when I try to mount them up. And I'm also debating whether I want to put something down here. And I've also got to figure out what I want to do for an electrical box. So I've got a couple options. I'm thinking about making one here myself, or TC Bros got some round ones that you can make or put on there that they make. I'm not sure. I kind of like to try to make my own and do something a little different. However, I like the idea of making a little box here, almost it looks like an oil pan, like a Harley or whatever, some kind of style like that. But then I would have to run a piece of sheet right here, and I kind of wanted to leave that open, I think, but looking at it now, I may do something to close that off. I'm just not 100% sure what I want to do yet. So that's part of my issue right now with running the rear fender. I kind of got to figure some of that stuff out first before I can do that, because if I do run a piece of sheet metal down here, then I can use wherever on that piece of sheet metal to use for my mounts on that fender. So like I said, I'll keep you guys updated as I go along and figure out what I'm gonna do. But for now, we're gonna get some stuff set up and start getting these worked on and twisted. Until then, just hang out, and we'll probably time lapse doing some twists, just so you guys can see that. This week's video may be kind of short. Hopefully we can make up for it next weekend, but we'll see. Alright guys, so as you see, I twisted some 1/4 inch square stock, and this is what I'm going to be using for those fender mounts that I was talking about earlier. But I'm also building a little chopper strider bike for my daughter, and I'm going to be using this for like sissy bar mounts on that. So I'm just kind of practicing for my bike, her bike for now, just kind of bending them up. I have done a little bit of it before. I did this handle for this sledgehammer one time, just kind of messing around. Nothing crazy, but you know, just practicing, doing some cool stuff. And I really like the reverse twist. It's my favorite. So I'm going to incorporate that in a lot of different places on this bike. And like I said, one of those is going to be those fender mounts. So since this episode is going to kind of be all over the place, that's just one of the things I'm going to be doing for now. This is just going to be the one side. I think I may have to cut it a little bit. I didn't quite completely measure it out yet, but once we get that all together, I'll kind of go over the bike a little, show you. Honestly, that's probably what a lot of this video is going to be about, unless I can think of anything else to get done on the chopper before I get some more stuff in here, because the next video or two on the chopper hopefully is going to be, you know, bigger stuff again, and it's going to die down a little bit as far as like you're going to see big changes wise. Like obviously the last couple of videos on the chopper have been huge, like getting the wheels and tires and the front end and motor, seat, handlebars, all that stuff on. Like eventually I'm going to run out of big stuff to put on it, so it's going to be more stuff like this. And like I said, the forward controls, we can work on that too. And those are going to be some time consuming videos in a way. Or it's going to be more time consuming for me to make. I may do some more like kind of time lapse in the videos of some of that stuff, just so I can fill some time and you guys can actually see me working on some stuff. Whereas like here recently, I've just kind of been bolting on and showing you. Just trying to save a little bit of time in the videos. I'm not looking to put any real long videos out of me just wrenching. Especially with some of the stuff I've been doing now. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing special that I need to go over. So anyways, stick around and we'll see what we go over next. Okay, so I didn't show you guys this part. Maybe I'll film it when I do this one, but got this one rounded out for what I'm going to use it for on our little bike. I'll show you that here in just a minute, but like I said, I'll probably show you on this one what exactly I did for that. Nothing special, just use the roundness of my drill press and heat it up and bend it. But that's that process again. And jump over to the bike here in a second. Okay, so as you can see, it's not perfectly to the shape of the tire, but it's close enough for how I'm gonna put it. I'm also probably gonna shorten it up. It's gonna go somewhere right around there, just kind of equal mark out. Like I said, I'll cut it there, or originally, I was gonna, see if I can get down there to it. A little hole right there. I was gonna tap into that and mount it to there. And that's kind of why I had these measured out as long as I did, but I just don't like the way that fits to the back of or the roundness of the tire. The roundness of this is kind of off. So I think that looks a little weird. I did some weird different design with it. I'll probably play with it and do that. But yeah, I don't know exactly. I'm still kind of trying to figure out how I'm gonna do that, but either way, we'll show you guys what we decided when we get done with it. But for now, it kind of gives you guys the idea of what we're doing here. So jump back over and cut our piece off this here in a second once it finished cooling, and then we'll do the same with it. I just took a pair of vice grips and did it right here on the plate of my drill press, and then just slowly heated it and kind of bent it around just to, so I had some kind of circular surface to go off of. But we're getting cool down at this end. This end's still hot because we just did it. But so we'll jump back over and do that here in just a minute. So that's kind of how I just did that. It's not perfect by any means really, but I'm just doing it for the little Strider bike, and it's close enough to what it is. And kind of like I mentioned, I may end up changing the way I did that up a little bit, just as far as like the bends. I may not do the circular bend around the wheel just because I'm not sure if I like the way it matches or not. And I kind of want to run a rear fender on that bike, so if I can find one small enough, it may look kind of weird with that too. So I'll kind of see where we go from there. But that was the process and how I made those. It's going to be similar to what I do on my bike. I'll probably do mine a little more just kind of weird, odd bends. I don't necessarily want them to be perfect. Maybe equal, just depending on, like I've kind of mentioned before, where I can put them. But other than that, that's kind of what they'll look like. All right, guys, thanks for joining in on another video. I think that's where I'm gonna leave this one off at. Like I said, definitely make sure you join us next week though, because the next video or two on the chopper is gonna be pretty cool. At least I'm very excited for it. I've mentioned it plenty of times. I'm really ready to get that tank on there. I'd like to get that back fender on there too, because then it's really just going to start looking like a real bike again. Other than that, I did get a few new parts from TC Pros in today, and I kind of probably go over those in the next couple of videos too. Nothing real big, just tail light and stuff like that. But yeah, thanks for sticking around and watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll come back to that Strider bike and go over more of it later when I'm a little more close to finish with it and kind of show you some of the things I did for it. But other than that, have a good one, and we'll see you next time.